Saturday the 27th. Yeah, Saturday. Which means it has been 2 days since Gotham's season finale and also Gotham's final episode. 2 days ago on Thursday, at least from since I'm recording this, because I'm pretty sure by the time this goes up, it's already been like a few days. It's probably been like a week after. But for me, it's been 2 days since the final episode has been released. And I'm still like... We'll get into my feelings about it. So today's video is going to be about Gotham and the series entirety. I just wanted to say my feelings about it because I feel like I actually like wrote everything down because just, yeah, I had to write it down. So I guess we can just start off with how I actually got into Gotham. I got into Gotham right before season 3 had started. But yeah, I got into it when season 3 had just started. I had watched all of season 1, all 22 episodes in literally one day. And I'm pretty sure I did the same thing the next day with season 2. And before I actually even got into Gotham, I had always knew about it. I wanted to consider getting into it, but I was like too lazy to get into like TV shows. I don't really watch TV unless it's for Raw or SmackDown, you know, professional wrestling. And even then, I don't even watch those live. And this was before they were even airing it every Thursday, before they were airing it every Tuesday. I'm pretty sure they changed that in season 4. So yeah, I was just so like, I always watch like YouTube videos and stuff. That's what always plays in the background when I'm working on something, when I was doing homework at the time, when I was a student. When I'm doing my makeup, when I'm doing my skincare, I'm always watching YouTube, so I barely ever watch TV. And when I got into Gotham, I fell in love with every single character right away, and I will go further into those characters. I was obsessed with the show. I couldn't get enough of the show. I was so excited to watch this show because I always wanted like my one show, like my show that I fell in love with and the one that I would get excited for. That used to be Criminal Minds until I kind of just like fell off on it, so I needed a new one, and for me that was Gotham. And why I got into Gotham and why I even considered getting into Gotham is because, I don't know if you know this by now, if you're a close friend you should know this by now, but I love villains. I always go for the bad guy. I always feel bad for bad guys for some reason because, you know, they go through their whole life, you know, going through the bad shit, and it molds them into this person, and they work really hard for their whole life, all to have some person just work hard for like 2 weeks and then have it taken away from them. I don't know, that's just how I see it. I love bad guys, I love villains, and I love backstories and stuff, or sometimes I just love it when they're just an asshole for no reason. Says a lot about me now, doesn't it? So when I heard about the show and when I decided to get into the show, I knew that Gotham was made for me. I'm gonna go through the ups and downs of Gotham. I'm gonna start with the downs first and then go with the ups, you know, just to end the video on a good note, because there were some downs of the series that really turned me off, but I still like treaded on. We're gonna start with the downs first. I think the first thing that kind of did set me off a little bit about the series is that it's not what I expected in the beginning. I thought that Gotham would expound more on all of the villains, or at least the ones that I guess came before Batman, because that's what Gotham is. It's the origin story of Batman. And I thought that they would do more with the villains, but they kind of just focused on like the main villains that are more relevant. So like, you know, Penguin, the Riddler, they did their backstories. They did Ivy Pepper, and we're gonna talk about her character later on because I have things to say about her development. So they introduced some characters here and there, but they didn't give really a backstory. And because Batman has a lot of villains, like he has a lot of like enemies, and granted some of the enemies came after Batman was born, but you know, I feel like they could have at least done more of the intro stories and stuff. And speaking of the characters, I feel like they could have pushed a little bit more with Harvey Dent because he just kind of like fell off the face of the planet. He's actually one of the characters that came after Batman, and I was told that Harvey is actually like the same age as Bruce, or should be the same age as Bruce. So I guess some people like pointed that out, and then I guess they pulled the plug on him. But I feel like since he lasted, I think like 2 seasons, they should at least like shelled him out, at least towards the end, you know what I mean? Towards the for the finale, they should have at least pushed his character out a little bit further. So yes, they did do Ivy's character pretty well, but I feel like they could have done it better, or I guess I would like her better if they didn't age her up so weirdly. So if you're a Gotham fan, you should know this by now, but I'll give you the detail of what happened to her. They first introduced Ivy as a little girl. They introduced her as a child, which I thought was really, really appropriate. She got like attacked or something, and she touched someone, or they grabbed her, and his power was to age them up rapidly, but she only touched them, or she only got grabbed for like a little bit. So she went from being a 13-year-old to like a 23-year-old, and I would be fine with it if her mental state was the same age, like if her mental state was a 23-year-old. But in an interview they said her body is a 23-year-old, but her mind is still that of a 13-year-old. And that's a little weird. It happens all the time in like fan fiction and fan art, and that's okay, mainly because the person doing the fan fiction and the fan art really, you know, tell the audience that, hey, this person is going to be of this age and their mental state is going to be of this age, or it's, you know, it's what the audience assumes. You know, no one's ever like, yeah, they're gonna have this body, but they're still gonna have the mind of a child, basically. Her turning into her final stage was kind of unnecessary, I feel like. Mainly because I don't get why Oswald was so mean to her for no reason. He was basically mean to her for no reason. Like, she saved you, but you're gonna be super rude to her. And she never came to confront him why he was being such a bitch, basically. So the other thing that they could have done better on, I feel like, was the timeline. Specifically Jerome and Jeremiah's timeline, because that's all sorts of weird. The whole thing's kind of weird. Because it didn't make sense to me. He was 18 when he made his first appearance, and then he died. Jerome, I'm talking about Jerome. He dies, and then they say a year has passed, so he should be 19, unless I guess they don't age that way, so he should maybe still be 18. He goes to Arkham for 6 months, so maybe in that time frame he turned 19, but because I guess, you know, when you die you don't age anymore, so he should still be 18 when he got resurrected again. But in the 6 months, maybe he turned 19, or he turned 20, if I'm wrong about the age thing. And then when he confronted Jeremiah, he said, I waited 15 years for this. So Jeremiah would have left when they were 5. And I don't know, it's just weird. Like, you go through all that by the time you're 5 years old, and you go through that comprehension that this is happening to you at 5 years old. So I feel like you don't really harbor that much hate at 5 years old. Or maybe I'm just shooting at my ass because I feel bad for Jerome. Also, Jeremiah's timeline is all sorts of weird too. I know that he's a genius, I know that he's very smart, but I don't remember who said it. I didn't write it down. I don't remember who said it. They probably said it in the show, but I forgot. Like 10 years after his graduation from St. Ignatius, I think, which he should maybe be 26, maybe? I don't know. Unless he just graduated college like super young. I don't know. Maybe that's how different him and Jerome are, because Jeremiah is book smart, but I feel like in my heart, I feel like Jerome is people smart. So I don't know. And then the last thing that I feel like didn't really need to be a part of the series, the last thing that kind of was a negative about the series, is that there was a little bit of queer baiting, I feel like, because they did that a lot with Barbara and Tabitha, and also, you know, with Ed and Penguin, Oswald and Ed. I feel like Ed and Oswald's, you know, pairing and ship dynamic is not really queer baiting. At least in the beginning I didn't think it was like that, but a lot of people, like the audience, the Gotham fandom, really did think that way. So I respect, you know, the people who feel that way. I didn't really think it was that way, but I could see why it was perceived that way, because I think they're trying to appeal to their queer audience, but at the same time, you weren't really giving them what they desired and what they wanted. It almost felt like they were pulling the reins on the queer audience and trying to get them to like the show, I guess. I don't know, I have mixed feelings about that ship dynamic, but I didn't like how they constantly told us that Barbara and Tabitha were friends when they were constantly kissing and touching each other. Not like friends do that, because, you know, girlfriends do that, but girlfriends don't really do that. Unless they're like, you know, straight TM girls who just want to do it for the wow factor. You know what I'm saying? I'm out of Dr. Pepper. So then we're gonna fly in with the ups, and we're gonna end this video on a really good note, because despite the fact that there were some negatives in the series, what made the audience very frustrated, probably what made the audience pull away from the show, there were some positives, at least for me anyway, and I'm gonna talk about them. I have to send this series on a good note. I have to talk about the series on a positive note. I fell in love with every single character and every single character development that they had, besides Ivy's. I mean, I liked Ivy for who she was. I fell in love with every single character. Most characters. I'm gonna tell you something that's a little bit controversial, kind of confusing as to why I'm making this video, is that I don't really like Batman. I mean, I've seen most of the Batman movies. Kind of makes no sense why I'm telling you I don't really like Batman. I just feel like Batman as a person, I feel like I wouldn't like him, because why is he so likable, and why is he, you know, he's just like a rich white guy. Like, however, David Mazouz, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. David, he made me fall in love with Bruce. I like David's Bruce, and that's it. I mean, not really. I like Michael Keaton and, you know, Adam West as Batman. You know, gotta pay respects to Adam West. And also Christian Bale's Batman. Basically every Batman, almost every Batman, I guess, besides Ben Affleck, because I didn't watch his Batman. And I'm pretty sure there's other Batmans that I missed, but those are the ones that I know about. Despite the fact me saying that, oh, I love villains, I love bad guys, I loved every single character, at least their character development. Victor Freeze, Bridget Pike, Victor Saz. I liked Ivy for, you know, the character that she is, just not really her development. Harvey Dent, I still to this day wish that they did something better with this character. Martine, I don't know why they just did not give us an update about him. Sophia Falcone, didn't really like her, but I mean, she did well for what she had to do, was be an asshole. Barbara, Tabitha, Selena Kyle, she kind of did piss me off in some areas, but again, she did what she had to do, and I can't really complain about it. Who else? Butch, Fish Mooney. I am still upset that she died because she did not have to die for any reason. And then there are the much bigger characters. Oswald, he had a great character development. Ed, he also had a really good development. I literally just heard today that they plan, or at least Corey, the person who plays Ed, who played Ed, said that he wanted to bring Ed's father into the story and really talk about his past and further on the character development, but they scrapped it. But they should have and could have. Fucking Jim Gordon, Alfred Pennyworth. I liked Lucius Fox also. Bruce, David did so well. I'm glad that they expounded more on Bruce's story, because from what I know, because I'm not really into comics and stuff, from what I really understand about the origin of Bruce is that his parents died, they were murdered in front of him, and he went through training to do all the vigilante stuff, and now he's Batman. So that's pretty much all that I know about the original story of Batman, but Gotham gave me a clearer, more interesting backstory on Batman. I feel like I'm forgetting some people, but you know, you understand by now my feelings towards these characters. Despite the fact that there were some negative parts on these characters, at the end of the day and at the end of the series, I love these characters and I love the actors who played these characters because they did so well. And the writers did pretty well on giving us characters that a lot of people can relate on. Like there's people who are in the LGBTQ community, even though they kind of did some weird shit with that. But Jim battled with depression, really severe depression, and I've never seen that in a show where one of the main characters has to go through that. Lee had lost a baby. Someone in the audience out there, you know, could have related to that. Even like the past abuse stories, like someone in the audience could have related to any of those stories. The only thing that the audience probably couldn't relate to the story is you know, the murdering stuff. You know, I hope to God no one relates to that. I missed out on a couple characters that I love, and that was Jervis Tetch. He was kind of creepy, but he was also kind of cool. And also Jonathan, so the Scarecrow. Yeah, both of them, I can't believe I forgot about them. They were really cool. And I love Jonathan's character design in season 4. I think my least favorite season was probably, to be honest, season 5, probably because it was the final season, not gonna lie. And my least favorite moment in the whole series, I said before, they changed Ivy for some weird reason. Oswald was mean to Ivy for no reason whatsoever other than he's just an asshole. Everyone seemed really upset at Oswald when he killed Tabitha, but in reality Tabitha deserved to die because she killed Oswald's mom, and his mom was a sweetheart, and just what? I think my favorite season or seasons was season 2 when they introduced Jerome, because Jerome is my favorite, and also season 4 because they also introduced Jeremiah, even though Jerome did deserve better. Jerome will always be my first love. Oh, another thing that they could have done with the series was that they could have had Jerome and Jeremiah together. Like, Jerome didn't need to die twice. Yeah, he didn't need to die twice. Why did you... Never mind. There's no point in asking anymore. In my head and in my dreams, Jerome is still alive. So I guess we should finish off this discussion with the final episode. Final episode. What did I think about the final episode? I kind of forced myself to be at peace with the final episode. I feel like, because like, what's the point in complaining now? It's not coming back. I feel like they could have done a little bit more with the episode. I feel like at the end, the ending of the episode was pretty good, mainly because it's the shot of Batman over the city. But I feel like what they also could have done is maybe pan towards other villains still in Gotham that haven't, you know, been put away. You know, all of the villains that I listed off. Victor Zsasz, Ivy Pepper, Victor Freeze, fucking Bridget Pike. They could have at least give us the update on those characters, but they didn't, and yeah, it was a little bit lackluster. I feel like it was a little bit underwhelming for what I wanted or what I thought was going to happen or what I just wanted it to happen. However, in the final episode, they gave us the 10-year updates on certain characters such as Selena Kyle. A lot of people are really upset about Selena's recast, but it was a 10-year jump, and they did the same thing with Bruce. Bruce and Selena are still technically kids in the series before this 10-year jump, so it made sense to recast them into adults. Ed has his whole dramatic ensemble, like the drama king that he is. Penguin also has he gained weight while he was in Blackgate, and I think that's kind of cute. They could have done like a much bigger fat suit, but they only focused on his middle and his legs. They gave us an update on Barbara and Jim's child, who is the girl from the new Pet Sematary movie, which I don't want to talk about that movie, but I thought it was so cute how she went and tried to save her mom from Echo and Jeremiah, which they gave us Jeremiah's 10-year update after falling into the chemicals at Ace Chemicals, which I feel like they didn't really need to do that either. I feel like season 4 and season 5 Jeremiah looked fine, but I guess they just wanted a scary Joker. So, which they did confirm. They basically did confirm that Jeremiah is the Joker, because when Jim asks him, "What do I call you?" he said Jack. And from what I remember, it was rumored that the Joker's name in one of the comics, his name is Jack. And then after the short list of names that he gave Jim, he said Jay. And then I looked at the fandom wiki, like the Gotham wiki. They said that he introduced himself as Mr. J, which I guess. And again, spoiler alert if you haven't seen, you know, the episode. They killed off Echo, which I thought was really weird, but I think that this confirms the idea that there were other Harley Quinns before the Harley Quinn that we know, because that was a scene in one of the comics. I think it was a scene in the New 52. I feel like they could have did some sort of effect with the other characters, the adult characters, because they all look the same, except for Oswald, Ed, Selena, Bruce, Jeremiah. Everyone else looks exactly the same, except Barbara has red hair, but skin, you know, facial feature wise, everyone looks the same, which I feel like they could have done something different with them. But whatever. Yeah, I think they just the writers had to do whatever they could have done in the time frame that they needed. or that they were given to, because they were only given 12 episodes when each episode, which each season was 22 episodes long. But I guess since Gotham got canceled, they had to shell out with 12 episodes. So I guess. And then towards the end, Oswald and Riddler were going to show Batman that the city belongs to them, and they said tomorrow, and that really like put me in my feelings. Bitches. But I feel like the final episode was what it needed to be. I feel like there wasn't much else that they could have done with the material, and maybe the money that they had, or lack thereof, maybe. Don't really have much else to complain about other than that. But yeah, it was a good ending for what it was. It was a good ending for a great series, and I just wanted to end this video with a thank you to the Gotham creators and the writers and the producers for working so hard and giving me a series that I love. At the end of the day, I do still love this series, and I'm glad that I saw through it to the end. I want to thank the actors for working so hard and giving me great characters to fall in love with. I don't think that they could have recasted anybody in any way. I don't think they could have done a better job with recasting the characters, because I think the actors did such a great job, and I think that they deserve the world, and I love them to death. It still like breaks my heart that I won't get another Gotham episode next week, and I won't get another season. But I knew that this was going to end, because Gotham is an origin story. You know, with prequels and origin stories, they have to get to the current story. And I knew it was going to end with Batman, and that's what happened. I'm still upset, but I'm happy that Gotham was in my life, and I'm happy that I got to read some great fan art, I wish that I was more into the fandom as I should have been, but I wasn't. I will regret that part of my life, but it is what it is, to be honest. There's like a tag going around, like a hashtag Save Gotham, but I don't think there's much else that you can do unless they did what I said in the beginning, you know, give details about the other characters. But I have come to terms with that. It's over, and I want to say I've let go, but I'm not letting go. I am going to watch the past episodes on Netflix, and I'm going to buy the box collection when it comes out. I was in the last season, not gonna lie, I was really denying the fact that it was over. I was missing some episodes and then catching up with them for like 5 hours, because I really didn't want this series to end. Like, that's who I am. Like, that's how I am with everything. Even on like YouTube playlist, I will not watch the end or the last few episodes because I don't want the series to be over. And I think what has scared me the most is that I don't want the fandom to be over, or the fandom to just like dissolve and, you know, go with the show, because, you know, the fan art and the fan fiction is what I live for in these fandoms, and because it puts you as a reader into that show or that movie or whatever, that community. And I couldn't ask for a better fandom. Just like the show, it had its ups and downs, but I hope to God that the fandom doesn't die. It probably will get a little bit smaller, but I hope that it doesn't, because I still want to see the fan art and the fan fiction, and I still want it to feel like Gotham is still alive. So yeah, that is all I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's a little bit different than my other videos, but I couldn't go forward and make a makeup video or a separate art video without, you know, contributing to the Gotham fandom for the final. And yeah, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want, you can also follow me on all of my other social media and talk to me about Gotham and shit like that. And yeah, that's all I have to say for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye!